Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly developer diary. So for this week, I'll run through what I've got done so far. So as in terms of the RPG game so far, I first of all created a little bit of like an actual village area, as you can see here. With just a few houses, some trees and whatnot. I probably had some little extra stuff, so maybe some like little like farms, just to make it seem a bit more less empty. Like even if I simply do something like, if I just take this yellow grass tile, just doing something like this, just like little things like that, just to like fill it in a bit more. But this is the basic idea I've got for the village. So the way I think the game's going to flow story wise is the game's going to start with, oh, the player character's just walked through here and is now in the village. You'll talk to the NPCs in the village, get given a problem that means you have to traverse through this route here, and then, so I still have to paint more of this in the tile set. Further on down here, there'll be an entrance to the actual dungeon. So along this route, there's going to be lots of long grass that you're going to be able to encounter enemies on. So, like that, for example, just to show that. So you'll have to go through this route, and you'll fight a few enemies, and then once you get to the end of the route, there will be like a cave or a forest entrance to the dungeon. Then in this dungeon, it's going to have more enemies, as well as ending with the boss of the game, which is the Triceratops enemy. And then once you've defeated that boss, it'll go back to the village, and by defeating that boss, it'll sort of wrap up the story. So in terms of the actual game project, I've not got tons this week. I've just mainly been doing a bit of this, and then I've been trying to improve the battle system, but it's been taking me a bit longer than I expected. Just from, because right now, as you know, it's if I attack, it does damage, and that's fine, and I need to deal damage to me. And I fixed the bug where I couldn't spam click, so now no matter how much I press, it'll only do it once, and then he'll attack once. And then the same for heal. What I've been trying to do is, because I haven't really done this before, is trying to change the attack from being a flat damage to be a timing based action. So maybe you have to press space at a certain timing and then it deals damage depending on that. Trying to get that to work has been a bit harder than I expected, just because it's implementing that into this whole battle system I've already made, as well as because I think my idea for it is, I think I might try and look at some tutorials on maybe like making like a basic rhythm game, because that'll relate in terms of it being timing based, so it might help me learn about how to incorporate that. And then for the heal, what I want is, that's going to be a sort of like mashing mini game. So it's going to be, you click heal and then maybe you have to mash spacebar, and depending on how well you mash spacebar, you'll heal more or less. But as of now, it's just a basic turn-based battle system. It does work. Once the enemy's defeated, it goes, oh, you won the battle, and the battle ends. And this is when it will transition back to the overworld. But as of now, that's all I've got for that. Other than that, I've just been filling out a lot of like forms and stuff recently. Like we finished our tranzfuser application. Now that's all wrapped up. So the written application got done last week, and then this week we got together and made the video application, and that's all submitted. And I think it said we'll hear from them at the latest at the end of May, whether we've been accepted into tranzfuser or not. So if I have any updates on that, I'll let you guys know. And then other than that, I had to fill out some forms for the part-time job I have, because the contract for that has now been extended to July, which is quite good because that'll just give me more work experience, which always looks good on the old CV. Other than that, I've just been looking at a few more of the story elements. So I've got a pretty good idea of what I want the story to be now. And I think if I do keep struggling with the battle system this coming week, rather than getting stuck on that the whole time, I'll start actually placing some of the NPCs and some of the timeline stuff to make some basic cutscenes, and actually getting a start on the actual narrative implemented into the game, because that's also quite an important thing, and I have a better idea of how I can start that, because I've done something similar to do with that in terms of my part-time job as a games research assistant, because in that I learned how to use Unity Timeline to make cutscenes. So now using that I can make it so, when the game loads, I can make it so it starts with a cutscene of, the player walking here, and then maybe an NPC comes and walks up to them and says something about, the issue in the town that then kickstarts the story of the game. But yeah, I think that's everything for this week. So as for the coming week, definitely I want to make some progress on the battle system, because I think I'm definitely going to look into rhythm game elements, just so I can understand how to get it working with like timing. And then as for the overworld, I think I should pretty much for next week have some more NPCs populating this town, have it look maybe a bit nicer, and have a start of like a timeline cutscene. So I think that's everything for this week. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next week. Alright, peace.